Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Outdoor Sports Club channel. I'm cleaning up the shed a little bit, doing some organization, and I ran across, I knew I had this in here. To be honest, I don't recall at the moment where it was stored. I think it was in a cabinet back there. But anyway, this is a very, very old sleeping bag, and I'm going to have to throw it away because it's not really any good anymore. It's a down-filled sleeping bag, and I don't know how old it is. I honestly don't, because my grandpa gave it to my parents. My mom's dad gave it to my parents, and it's one of his old. I think it was his when he was in the military, which was back in the Korean War era. Now he also went to a lot of swap meets, so it's very possible that he just picked this up and he knew that it was a good bag. But he gave us this along with a lot of other bags when I was in junior high. Something like that. And mostly we took them on a vacation where we went to Wyoming and Idaho, and we didn't go camping, but I slept, I think, in this bag on top of my mom's minivan, which has a luggage rack, so that didn't really work out very well. But that was outside of Denver. My dad didn't like getting hotel rooms. And then on our way back, we stopped in the middle of the night somewhere at some kind of a place in the middle of Colorado up in the mountains on, that's I-70. So right off of I-70 somewhere. It was like a visitor center or something. And I slept in this bag or one of the other ones that weren't quite as good. And I slept on a park bench. And I think my dad slept on the concrete of the porch, like right next to me or whatever. But the time when I was a freshman in high school, my dad dropped me off to go deer hunting on one of his properties, and he basically kicked me out. He bought me a nice greasy burger, and I had some stuff with me, some food, some donuts, orange, an apple, some hot chocolate in a thermos, and I think some orange juice, and that was probably about it. And he kicked me out on this property well after the sun went down, and said he'd see me sometime tomorrow. And I had a 12 gauge shotgun with some slugs, and I just carried across this field. The field was split by a deep dry creek, mostly dry most of the time, in a little bit of a wooded area. It was narrow for most of the part, but then it opened out into this big like wedge shape of woods between these two berms. And I slept up on top of one of the berms that night. And it was kind of interesting because back then I didn't really think that much of it. But it was really cold that night, and I had this bag and I had one other bag, and I stuffed the other bag inside this bag, and I was fully clothed. I had insulated overalls on, or at least overalls, and I had a sweatshirt on with a hoodie, and I'd put the hoodie up, and this is a mummy bag, and man, I was super warm all night. And I had the shotgun inside there with me, unloaded of course, but I like to put my guns inside the bag with me because I didn't want them getting dew on them or anything like that. When you sleep just out on the ground, that's kind of what happened. But I was warm, and then later in college when me and my friends started camping a lot, I had this bag and one other one, and I always double stuffed them because we went camping out and we just laid on the ground in the open air. We'd throw a tarp down and we would just lay side by side, and I was always pretty warm. There were a few times I wasn't that warm, and I remember one time I wouldn't have made it through the night if it weren't for having a pullover hoodie, which I really didn't like because I'm claustrophobic. But anyway, it's a U.S. Mountain Large is what it says on it, and you can see that it's been stitched up before, and when I was in college, I should have had it stitched up again because it would have lasted a while, and it's just such a good bag, or was such a good bag. But the down kind of settled and came out a lot. I'm gonna take this, and we're going to actually I'm going to stop the video and reset a little bit. So yeah, you can see that it's just got some big holes in it. This would still be a lot warmer than the bags that I have. A lot warmer. I've got a mummy bag right now, but it's just not that good. And then I've got a big bag that I like, but it's not super warm either. And you can see it's just I didn't take care of it that well back in college, And then, you know, I've moved a couple times since then. I've just kind of always forgot about it. But it has this big heavy duty zipper. You can zip from the inside. In fact, it doesn't have a pull on the outside, which is, it actually works pretty well. But that's super heavy duty. And this, there's not a lot of, well, there's a little bit of down up here these days. But, you know, to be honest, I don't know if another sleeping bag would last this long. I don't know that they make them this good anymore. I mean, on the high end, maybe. But here, let me zip this thing down. We'll see how it looks inside. Oh, and see, one of the things I like about it is I could just rip out of this thing if I ever needed to come out of it pretty quick. So back then, and this zipper doesn't get caught. The way it's made, it just doesn't get caught. Oh man, the more I play with this, the more I think I should pay to have somebody refill it and sew it up. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys out there have had experience with doing that kind of a thing, and could give me some details on who to contact to do it, because the more I play with this thing, the more I realize that I can't throw it away. I just can't bring myself to do it. So yeah, I can't do it now. I just saw this. So this is Sleeping Bag Mountain M-1949. Keep the bag dry. I've never done a great job of that. This is awesome. Avoid sweating in the bag. I usually did. There were times I sweat in the bag, but I'd usually open it up because I can't sleep when I sweat. But feather filled. Do not dry clean. Anyway, I've never even looked at that tag. I don't remember ever looking at it. Back then I was sort of nonchalant about stuff. So yeah, now that I'm looking at it, there's this big giant hole right here, and there's a few little ones. There's one around the strap at the bottom. Sometimes the feathers would come out the seams here. I don't know that there's a lot you can do about that, but you can see them kind of coming out of those. I intended to just shoot a video of it real quick just to kind of remember the time that I had with it. My grandpa, he passed away many years ago, but I remember him giving these to us, and I remember when we didn't get a lot of use out of them for a while, and then I started camping a lot with my friends in college, and I came to love this bag because it finally dawned on me how useful it was. We camped in a lot of cold weather, and it did really, really well. It's heavy, but you know, we weren't backpacking. We were just driving up someplace in a car and getting out and camping. So remembering how warm this thing was and remembering how comfortable it was, I would really love to have this bag on some of the campouts I've been on in the last few years. So please give me information if anybody knows of a place that I could ship it off to, or take it to, or maybe even do it myself. I don't know, maybe I could just sew up, or have somebody sew up the stuff and not repack it, not refill it. And it would still be it would still be better than the bags I've got, even if I didn't fill it or get it refilled. So anyway, it's an old sleeping bag, and they don't make them like they used to, I don't think. So anyway, I don't know what else to say about it. There wasn't really a purpose to this video other than looking the bag over and talking about my experiences with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And this old stuff is cool. Take care.